Hello my Banda crew and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be a little different. We're having a Thanksgiving celebration. So for my Crashgiving, I wanted to talk about the things that I'm thankful for in the Crash series. But frankly, there's so many that I had to cut it down. So we're going to do 26. We're going to do A through Z of what I appreciate and am thankful for in the Crash Bandicoot series. If this is your first time coming to the channel, I release Crash Bandicoot content every week. We discuss lore, theories, news, I do interviews, tier lists, pretty much anything and everything Crash Bandicoot related I cover here. So if that sounds like something you might be interested in, maybe consider subscribing. So for this A to Z Crashgiving special video, I am trying not to do characters because that seems like a cop-out to me. There are a few characters on this list, but you will see. So, let's start off with A. Aku Aku. I'm using Aku Aku as the mask in the box, not the actual character. Not to say I dislike Aku Aku, but for this video we're saying Aku Aku because when you get 3 of him, you get invincibility. If you're not so good at the game, masks will pop up if you keep dying at the same spot. So back when I started playing in 1996, this mask was the go-to. So A is for Aku Aku. B, bonus stages. Bonus stages, you gotta love them. You go in there, you get extra Wumpa fruit, you get extra lives, and it helps to get to 100% completion. But if you're not worried about that, it's still good to go in there because you can get some extra lives. C, Crash Bandicoot himself. This franchise wouldn't exist without Crash. You gotta love the little orange guy. D, digging stages. In Crash Bandicoot 2, you could dig, but it wasn't explored further beyond going under the ground and spinning your arm out. But later in the Radical games, you could dig into the levels. If you found the swirl on the ground, that means you could dig, and Crash could dig under, and you got the X-ray vision of him digging throughout the level. So digging was a great mechanic. I hope it comes back in a future installment. E, Eggopus Rex. Finding this level back in 1998, this hidden level, was amazing. And I didn't know that the character was called Baby T at this point, because I didn't know the pun of Oedipus Rex and Eggopus. So I always thought that this little T-Rex was called Eggopus Rex, and just finding this level blew my mind back in the day. And being able to do all these cool jumps with the lava in the background, Eggopus Rex, love it. F, Fruit Bazooka. A lot of people call this the Wumpa Bazooka, but it's actually called the Fruit Bazooka. So the Fruit Bazooka you unlocked in Crash Bandicoot Warped for the first time, and man, shooting the lab assistants and making them blow up and showing their boxers and blowing up the chickens and just having a poof of feathers, man, good times. G is for the gems. Man, you always felt like a rock star when you'd grab one of these bad boys. Getting all the way through the different paths or getting all the boxes to reward yourself with a gem just puts a smile on your face. H, we got Hasty. I said I wasn't going to do characters, but Hasty, I'm not doing it specifically for Hasty himself, but just the fact that he exists, because Beanox made Hasty as a nod to the fandom for Fasty the Hippo, who doesn't even exist. I know. It's all rumors and stuff. But the fact that they created this character as homage to those rumors back in the day, it's just, mwah, chef's kiss. They loved the series, they loved the game, and I just loved Hasty's inclusion. This is kind of piggybacking off of Hasty. We have the Iron Checkpoint crate. You knew that Beanox was going through the Reddit looking for joke characters to add. And when they saw this, they jumped on it. You didn't need to have any voice lines for the character. You didn't need to have pretty much any animations for the guy. All you had to do was grab an Iron Checkpoint crate, toss him into a cart, good to go. So the Iron Checkpoint crate, he is on my Crashgiving list because he was just so hilarious to me. And the fact that Beanox was going into the Reddit and pleasing fans with this, again, I just loved it. Jay, the Jetboard. My mind was blown when I was a little kid playing Crash 2 and I jumped on that Jetboard. I was like, who created it? Did Coco make it for Crash? Is it something that Engine left behind? Did Cortex leave it there? I just couldn't figure it out. And then I actually got the toy that had the Jetboard. And man, love me some Jetboard action. K obviously goes for kart because Crash Team Racing, hands down, favorite kart racer. It might even be my favorite Crash game. So when you see Crash in a kart, you know you're going to have a good time. L is for lab assistants. I really liked that the lab assistants were revealed to be androids, and then they'd go through this, what do you want to call it? They're on a conveyor belt, and then they would go through this, and they'd get changed into different versions that would get sent off to different time periods. So you'd have the wizards, you'd have the knights, you'd have the Arabian guys. Then in Crash 2, you had like the Hunters. Again, Crash 3, you had the Orient Express ones. It was just really cool to me to show that they weren't just random guys that were working for Cortex. Cortex actually has this whole big experiment where he's making robotical drone assistants. And it just expanded the lore, and I appreciated it a lot back in the day. And in the current iteration in Crash 4, there's female lab assistants now, even though they went back in time to the events of Crash 1 and female lab assistants weren't there. I guess we could just assume they were off screen when that happened. But lab assistants are a staple in the series. There's only a couple games where they don't appear, and I love me some lab assistants. M, Mojo. I loved the inclusion of Mojo, the variety of different colors. Then they added more story beats, and now in the newer games, like Crash Bandicoot 4, there's this whole like voodoo village that's run on Mojo. So it expanded the lore, and I appreciate it. Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. N is for Nitro Fueled. This is, I said earlier, Crash Team Racing is my favorite game, but this on top of Crash Team Racing is just a love letter to the fans. There's all the characters, all the Easter eggs, all the tracks. It's just, if you love the Crash Bandicoot franchise, you're doing yourself a disservice if you've never played this game. You need to get Nitro Fueled. Oh, Orient Express. I played this level so much back in the day, trying to get that Platinum Relic and then trying to get better and better time trials. Me and my one buddy from back in the day, we would just go back and forth, getting better and better level or times. So it always holds a place in my heart, Orient Express. This one I kind of cheated. I picked two. I did Polar and Purah because I love them both, Polar and Purah. Crash has his little dog. Coco has her little cat. It's just precious. I know Polar isn't a dog, but he barks and he acts like a little puppy for Crash, and Purah purrs for Coco. So it's like their own little pets, and I love them. They're precious. And that's all there is to say about the P's. Personally, I wasn't that big a fan of the Quantum Masks, but we're doing the alphabet and we got to Q, so I went with the Quantum Masks. I did like Lonnie Loli's ability to phase in and out, and Kapuna was timey-wimey powers are pretty cool. But overall, the Quantum Masks will get the Q. R is Rustland. You hear me talk about lore all the time? I love lore, and the Rustland Grand Prix is my favorite Grand Prix. You're launching yourself deep into the future. Ruse Tubes is no more. All the water's gone. You have the battleship from Crash to Insanity. You have all these post-apocalyptic skins, designs. Megamix returns, which he'll have to be a new Megamix because the other one existed previous and split apart. This one's existence comes from toxic waste. Then you've got the fusion of Uka Uka and Aku Aku, Apu Apu. It's just my favorite Grand Prix, and I place it at the end of the timeline. This is the furthest event off into the future. The Rustland Grand Prix Megamix Mania. S is for skins. Skins are just so fun nowadays. They didn't appear in all of the games, but they're like a more modern take on unlockables now. Back in Crash Tag Team Racing, I believe, was the first time that skins became like real prominent in the series. But ever since then, we've got some pretty wacky and wild skins, and I love, love, love most of them. T is for the Titans. I can't have a picture with every single Titan, but I loved the inclusion of the Titans. You got to ride them, quote-unquote jack them, and if you weren't a big Crash fan, you didn't even know about these characters or that mechanic. Then comes Super Mario Odyssey with the capture technique, which is almost exactly the same thing as jacking the Titans. And oh my goodness, Nintendo, you never fail. Nintendo gets all the credit, everybody loves it. But then the Titans, for whatever reason, the Crash fandom, they don't like the Titans. I personally love the Titans. I love the mechanics. I love the different characters, the different abilities. I thought it was a lot of fun. And that's all I got to say about the Titans. So we got Uka Uka. Like I said, I'm trying not to do character specific, but Uka Uka as being the big boss, I really enjoyed that. Trying to pull everything together in the first 3 games. They tried to have one singular head of everybody. So now you have Uka Uka, who's the mastermind behind all of Cortex's stuff. And then Entropy falls under him. You have Brio, Engine. Everybody just falls under Uka Uka. It's a nice parallel to Aku Aku being the good guy. And even if you don't like the character of Uka Uka, him existing as like the figurehead to all of evil, I really enjoyed it. So that is you, Uka Uka. V is Von Clutch's Motor World. I can't tell you how wild it was to see humans in the Crash Bandicoot series other than the professor or the doctors and the villains. You get to explore an entire amusement park and there's just people walking around. That's a first for the Crash Bandicoot series, and I enjoyed the heck out of all the different environments that were in Von Clutch's Motor World. My only issue was the enemies were just ninja penguins. I would have preferred more enemy types. Like, even if you wanted to keep them penguins, just change their skin a little bit. So you could have, like, penguins in spacesuits, or penguins in suits of armor, or penguins dressed up like mummies. Just theme them to the different areas. But overall, Von Clutch's Motor World was new for the series. And like I said, just experiencing going through an amusement park and being able to interact with humans, that was really fun, and I enjoyed it. W is absolutely 100% for Wumpa, whether it be the classic Wumpa, the golden Wumpa, the Pachinko Wumpas where you have the green, red, blues, and yellows, or the Evo Wumpas from the Radical games. You had the blue Evo Wumpa and the purple Evo Wumpa. Wumpas are a staple of the series, and you just love to see them. You get 100 of them, you get an extra life. You get a gold one, it boosts your power. You could soup up your carts. I mean, there's just endless possibilities with these little fruits. And I love me some Wumpa. I even have the energy drinks with the Wumpa flavor. These next two, I know I'm cheating. I could not think of anything for the life of me for X. But when it comes to X-rays, literally every game that has a skin option, there is a skeleton crash. So I figured, hey, it's an X-ray. We'll go with that for X. And just seeing all spooky Crash, like the glow skeleton from On the Run's really fun. And now in Crash Team Rumble on the far left here, you've got the new Skella Crash. It's just fun, and I like how we get some spooky skeleton crashes. And this next one, Y, is also stretching. I couldn't think of anything for Y other than Yaya Panda, and like I said, I don't want to just name characters from the series. So I really dug deep into my subconscious and remembered the Yeti from Crash the Huge Adventure. It's just a chase level. The reason that the Yeti is on this list is because he starts with a Y. The only other Yeti I remember was from Crash Tag Team Racing, who ate Crash in one of the diorama cutscenes. Was not really a fan of that ugly one. He just looked like a white gorilla for the most part. But this Yeti, he did scare me back when the game first came out. He was very, very creepy looking, and I always thought he had a... I shouldn't say always. At the start, I thought he had a polar face. I didn't realize that was his mouth. I thought that was his nose. But now that you look at it, he's just got the mouth with the teeth and the evil eyes. Yeti for Y. Which brings us to our Z. Z for Zembillis. Charles Zembillis. The man, the myth, the legend. He designed Crash, he designed Spyro, he designed Jak and Daxter. Charles Zembillis, without you, we wouldn't have our Crash Bandicoot that we have today. So everyone, that is my Thanksgiving video, my Crashgiving. Let me know in the comments section some of the things that you are happy that the Crash Bandicoot series brought into your life. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video, and we will see you in the next one. Take care.